The greatest gift, the greatest gift, the greatest gift, the greatest gift that humans have is the ability to think. All of these creatures in the world, humans are physically the most ill-equipped. A human cannot fly like a bird, outrun a leopard, swim like an alligator, nor climb trees like a monkey. A human doesn't have the eyes of an eagle, nor the claws and teeth of a wild cat. Physically, humans are helpless and defenseless. A tiny insect can kill them, but nature is reasonable and kind. Nature's greatest gift to humankind is the ability to think. Humans can create their own environment, whereas animals have to adapt to their environment. Sadly, very few people use the greatest gift, the ability to think, to its full potential. Failures are of two kinds: those who did and never thought, and those who thought and never did. Going through life without using your ability to think is like shooting without aiming. Life is like a cafeteria. You take your tray, select your food, and pay at the other end. You can get anything you want as long as you are willing to pay the price. In a cafeteria, if you wait for people to serve you, you will wait forever. Life is like that too. You make choices and pay the price to succeed. In fact, the reverse is true. We never pay the price for success. We reap the rewards of success. We actually pay the price for failure. Life is full of choices and compromises. Destiny is not a matter of chance, it is a matter of choice. It is not a thing to be waited for, it is a thing to be achieved. At first glance, it might seem that there is a contradiction in the statement that life is full of choices and compromises. If life is full of choices, where is the question of compromise? But even a compromise is a choice. Let's evaluate this. How is life full of choices? When we eat too much, we make a choice to be overweight. When we drink too much, we make a choice to have a headache the next day. If we drink and drive, we choose to risk being killed or killing someone in an accident. When we ill treat people, we choose to be ill treated in return. When we don't care about other people, we choose not to be cared for by them. When we light up a cigarette, we choose to invite cancer. Choices have consequences. The most important, the most important thing to understand is that we are all free to the point of making choices. But after we make a choice, the choice controls the chooser. We have no more choices. What is success? Series of positive choices is called success, and series of negative choices is called failure. We have an equal opportunity to be unequal. The choice is ours. Life can be compared to a pottery maker who shapes clay in any form he wants. Similarly, we can mold our lives into any shape we want. How is life full of compromises? Is everything within our control in our lives? Obviously not. Life is not just party and pleasure, it is also pain and despair. Unthinkable things happen. Sometimes everything turns upside down. Sometimes bad things happen to good people for no fault of theirs. What wrong did they do? Who knows? Sometimes people are born deformed. What wrong did they do? Who knows? We cannot choose our parents or decide where and when we are born. If the ball bounced the wrong way for you, I'm sorry. But what do you do from that point on? Cry or take the ball and run? That is a choice you have to make. We cannot choose the cards which are dealt to us, but we can choose how to play the game. On a clear day, There are hundreds of boats sailing in all different directions in a lake. Even though the wind is blowing in one direction, the sailboats are going in different directions. Why? It depends on the way the sail is set, and that is determined by the sailor. The same is true of our lives. We can't choose the direction of the wind, but we can choose how we set our sail. Health, happiness, and success depend upon the fighting spirit of each person. The big the big thing is not what happens to us in life, but what we do about what happens to us. We can choose our attitude even though we cannot always choose our circumstances. The choice is either to act like a victor or a victim. It is not our position but our disposition that determines success. And what is disposition? It is our attitude. It takes both rain and sunshine to create a rainbow. Our lives are no different. There is happiness and sorrow. There is the good and the bad, dark spots and bright spots. When we can handle adversity well, it only strengthens us. We cannot control all the events that happen in our lives, but we can control how we deal with them. Richard Bledington wanted to promote Indian tea at the St. Louis World Fair. It was very hot and no one wanted to sample his tea. So that iced drinks were doing a flourishing business. It dawned on him to make his tea into an iced drink, mix in some sugar, and offer it for sale. People loved it. That was the introduction of iced tea to the world. An acorn cannot decide whether to become a giant tree or to become food for the squirrels. Human beings have choices. Human beings are not like an acorn which has no choice. If nature gives us a lemon, we have a choice either to cry or make lemonade. When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, you can react responsibly or resentfully. The choice is yours. Chapter 4, Attributes of Success. Ability without dependability is a liability. Qualities that make a person successful. First, desire. The motivation to succeed comes from the burning desire to achieve a purpose. Napoleon Hill wrote, whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. A young man asked Socrates the secret to success. Socrates told the young man to meet him near the river the next morning. They met, and Socrates asked the young man to walk with him toward the river. When the water got up to their necks, Socrates took the young man by surprise and pushed him under the water. The boy struggled to get out, but Socrates kept him there. When the boy started turning blue, Socrates raised the boy's head out of the water. The first thing the boy did was to take a deep breath of air. Socrates asked, what did you want the most when you were underwater? The boy replied, air. Socrates said, that is the secret to success. When you want success as badly as you wanted air and water, you will have it. There is no other secret. This is called the burning desire. In the business community, we call it the fire in the belly. We call it the fire in the belly. In the sports community, we call it the killer instinct. Fire in the belly, killer instinct. I have burning desire. I have fire in the belly, killer instinct. A burning desire is the starting point of all accomplishment. Just like a small fire cannot give much heat, a weak desire cannot produce great results. Commitment. Integrity and wisdom are the two pillars on which to build and keep commitments. This point is best illustrated by the manager who told one of his staff members, integrity is keeping your commitment even if you lose money, and wisdom is not to make such foolish commitments. Playing to win requires commitment. There is a big difference between playing to win and playing not to lose. When we play to win, we play with enthusiasm and commitment. However, when we play not to lose, we are playing from a position of weakness. When we play not to lose, we are playing to avoid failure. We all want to win, but very few are prepared to pay the price to prepare to win. Winners condition and commit themselves to winning. Many years ago, the French, who were the world champions in football, lost out in the first round. When they lost, one of the players said, "There goes my contract." During the same championship game, the South Koreans, who were not considered as a strong contender for the championship, came all the way to the semi-finals. But the way they played, even though they lost the match, they won the heart of the world. What was the difference? The difference was one was playing for the contract and the other was playing for their country. That's the difference between playing to win versus playing not to lose. When we play to win, we play out of inspiration, versus when we play not to lose, we play out of desperation. There is a big difference between the two. There are no ideal circumstances, then there never will be to reach any destination. You can neither drift nor at an anchor. Lie at anchor. You need to sometimes sail with the wind and sometimes against it, but sail you must. Ask any coach or athlete to define the difference between the best and the worst team. There would be very little difference in the players' physique, talent, and ability. The biggest difference is an emotional difference. The winning team has dedication and they make the extra effort. They have a strong desire to win. To a winner, the tougher the competition, the greater the incentive, the stronger the motivation, the better the performance, the sweeter the victory. New challenges develop new potential. Most athletes' best performance have come when the odds were slightly against them. That is when they dig deeper into their emotional reservations. When I'd get tired and want to stop, I'd wonder what my next opponent was doing. When I could see him still working, I'd start pushing myself. When I could see him in the shower, I'd push myself harder. Success is not in the achievement but in the achieving. Some people never try because they are afraid to lose. At the same time, they don't want to stay where they are because they are afraid to be left behind. There is a risk either way. Ships that go out into the open waters face risk from a storm, but if they sit in the harbor, they would rust anyway, and that is not what they were built for. The difference between playing to win and playing not to lose is that we cannot be we cannot be committed and not take risks. People who play to win thrive on pressure, and those who play not to lose don't know how to succeed. Commitment makes people who play to win prepare harder. For those who play not to lose, the pressure saps their energy. They want to win, but they are so afraid of losing that they can't reach their full potential. They lose energy worrying about losing instead of concentrating their efforts on winning. Losers want security, winners seek opportunity. Losers are more afraid of life than death. Failing is not a crime, but a lack of effort is. The quality of a person's life is in direct proportion to their commitment to excellence, regardless of their chosen field of endeavor. Responsibility, a duty that turns into a desire eventually turns into a delight. People with character accept responsibilities, they make decisions and determine their own destiny in life. Accepting responsibilities involves taking risks and being accountable, which is sometimes uncomfortable. Most people would rather stay in their comfort zone and live passive lives without accepting responsibilities. They drift through life waiting for things to happen rather than making them happen. Accepting responsibilities involves taking calculated, not foolish, risks. It means evaluating all the pros and cons and taking the most appropriate decision or action. Responsible people don't think that the world owes them a living. You cannot bring about prosperity by discouraging thrift. You cannot strengthen the weak by weakening the strong. You cannot enrich the poor by improvising the rich. You cannot establish sound security on borrowed money. You cannot help the wage earner by pulling down the wage payer. You cannot build character and courage by taking away men's initiative and independence. You cannot further the brotherhood of men by inciting class hatred. You cannot keep out of trouble by spending more than you earn. You cannot help men permanently by doing for them what they could and should do themselves. Each of the above statements by Lincoln is profound and valid universally and eternally. It is you cannot strengthen the weak by weakening the strong. You must make them build their own strengths. If you are climbing an icy mountain or fighting a war, a mistake may kill you. When things go wrong, negative people play the blame game. The retiring president of a company, after a standard farewell, gave two envelopes marked number 1 and number 2 to the incoming president and said, whenever you run into a management crisis you cannot handle by yourself, open envelope number 1 at the next crisis. Open the second one. A few years later, a major crisis came. The president went into the safe and pulled out the first envelope. It said, blame it on your predecessor. A few years later, a second crisis came. The president went for the second envelope and said, prepare two envelopes for your successor. What is the moral of the story? Losers look for scapegoats and excuses. They are not willing to take responsibility. Hard work. Mark Spitz created a new world record in swimming by winning 7 gold medals at Munich. I'm sure some people thought it must be his lucky day. Mark Spitz was at Mexico in 1968 and won 3 gold medals. He was happy but unhappy. From 1968 to 1972, from Mexico to Munich, he trained 10,000 hours, and if you are good at maths, it translates to 2,500 hours per year. And if you are good at calculus, that translates to into close to 8 hours per day. No Sunday. You got sit in the water 8 hours per day for the next 4 years. Your body will shrivel. Did he get lucky? Luck is not designed to deliver you these things in life. Athletes train 15 years for a 15-second performance. Go ask them if they got lucky. There is no substitute to hard work. Most people want to win in life, but very few are willing to pay the price to prepare to win. If you and I are willing to train 10,000 hours like Mark Spitz, probably we could be at the Olympics too. The question is, are we willing to do it? Luck. I don't know anything about luck. I never went on it, and I'm afraid of people who do. Luck to me is something else, hard work and realizing what is opportunity and what isn't. Success is not something that you run into by accident. It takes a lot of preparation and character. It takes sacrifice and self discipline. There is no substitute for hard work, Henry Ford said. The harder you work, the luckier you get. The world is full of willing workers, some willing to work and the others willing to let them. How true. Camon's Wilson, CEO of Holiday Inn, said, I like to work half a day. I don't care if it is the first 12 hours or the second 12 hours. Just as a person cannot learn to spell by sitting on a dictionary, he cannot develop a capacity to do anything without hard work. Professionals make things look easy because they have mastered the fundamentals of whatever they do. Michelangelo said, if people knew how hard I had to work to gain my mastery, it wouldn't seem wonderful at all. The average person puts only 25% of his energy and ability into his work. The world takes off its head to those who put in more than 50% of their capacity and stands on its head for those few and far between souls who devote 100%. Successful people ask how much work, not how little work. They ask how many hours, not how few. They think in terms of seconds and minutes, not in terms of hours and days. To them, every second is precious. Wasting time amounts to wasting life. The best musicians practice every day, often for hours. Winners don't need to apologize for winning because they work long and hard. Everything that we enjoy is a result of someone's hard work. Some people's work is visible while others goes unseen. But ultimately, both are equally important. So take pride in your work and whenever there is a chance, show appreciation for the hard work of others by treating their work with care and respect. Work hard and well, and you will have the satisfaction of seeing your project completed. Sometimes others may show appreciation, but that's a bonus, for the major satisfaction comes from within. Many people don't understand the difference between idle time and leisure time. Idle time amounts to wasting or stealing time. Leisure time is earned. Enjoying leisure time leaves us energized and refreshed. Idle time saps our energy. Procrastinating is idle time. Excellence is not luck. It is the result of a lot of hard work and practice which make a person better at whatever he is doing. Far and away the best prize that life offers is the chance to work hard at something worth doing. Hard work is both a beginning and an end in itself. The harder a person works, the better he feels, and the better he feels, the harder he works. The best ideas will not work unless you work the ideas. Great talent without willpower and hard work is a waste. We need to learn from nature. The duck keeps paddling relentlessly underneath the water but appears smooth and calm on the top. Once, when the great violinist Fritz Kreisler finished a concert, someone came up to the stage and said, I'd give my life to play the way you do. Chrysler replied, I did. There is no magic wand for success. In the real world, success comes to doers, not observers. A horse that pulls cannot kick. A horse that kicks cannot pull. Let's pull and stop kicking. Nature gives birds their food but does not put it in their nests. They have to work hard for it. Nothing comes easily. Milton rose every morning at 4 a.m. to write Paradise Lost. It took Noah Webster 36 years to compile Webster's dictionary. Even small accomplishments require hard work. A small good action is a lot better than a great intention. It is sad but true that there are more people in the world who are not working than there are people who are unemployed. Some people stop working as soon as they find a job, regardless of the unemployment static, stas- statistics. It is hard to find good people to work. Many times you hear, don't work hard, work smart. What does working smart mean? It means learning from other people's mistakes because our lives are not long enough to make all of our own mistakes. We need to find a process or way to accelerate to achieve our goals or destination. Acceleration means speeding up the process rather than bypassing the process. Working smart does not mean compromising values. The key to succeed in life is to work both smart and hard. There is no substitute to hard work. Working hard includes working smart. Character. Try not to become a success, but rather try to become a man of value. Character is the sum total of a person's values, beliefs, and personality. It is reflect it is reflected in our thoughts, behavior, and actions. It needs to be preserved more than the richest jewel in the world. To be a winner takes character, George Washington said. I shall always possess firmness and virtue enough to maintain what I consider the most valuable of all titles, the character of an honest man. It is not the pulse of public opinion, but the character of the leader that determines the course of history. There is no twilight zone in integrity. If character is the foundation upon which all else is built, it endures. The road to success has many pitfalls. It takes a lot of character and effort not to fall into them. It also takes character not to be disheartened by critics. Nobody kicks a dead dog. Character is a combination. Character is having a combination of three core values: integrity, respect, and responsibility. All other values are supporting values. All positive behavior, such as honesty, unselfishness, understanding, conviction, courage, loyalty, sincerity, hard work, etc., emanate from our core values. Character is much deeper than personality. What is a positive personality with character? It is poise and composer. It is sure footedness and confidence without arrogance. It is being considerate and understanding. It is accepting responsibility and not making excuses. It is knowing that courtesy and good manners take many small sacrifices. It is learning from past mistakes. It has nothing to do with money or blue blood. It never builds itself by destroying others. It is substance, not just form. It is being able to walk with the elite and yet maintain the common touch. It is a gentle word, a kind look, and a good natured smile. It is the courage that stands against tyranny. It is being comfortable with oneself and others. It is having the classic touch that gives the winning edge. It is easy to recognize, hard to define. It is graciousness in victory and defeat. It is not fame and fortune. It is permanent. It is intangible. It is not a plague. It is being humble, courteous, and polite without being subservient. It is being classy without being cocky. It is self discipline and knowledge. It is self contained. It is trustworthiness and dependability. Human nature is such that sometimes, during the greatest moments of our accomplishments, we start slacking off and lose out. In order to sustain self-discipline, balance, humility, and many people know how to become successful, but after they become successful, they don't know how to handle it. That is why ability and character go hand in hand. Ability will get you success, character will keep you successful. We don't unfold or discover ourselves, we create and build ourselves into the kind of person we want to be. Character building starts from infancy and goes on until death. Character does not need success, it is success. Just like a gardener has to keep weeding to prevent weeds from eating the life of the garden, we need to keep building and developing our character by weeding out of our faults. John Kennedy once said that it is a mark of character how well a person behaves when things are not going well. When things are going well for us, it is easy to be logical, kind, and gracious. But when things aren't going well and we are under a lot of pressure, some people can't think clearly and snap at others around them, while others remain clear headed and continue to treat others with respect. Positive thinking and believing. What is positive thinking and positive believing? Positive thinking means a person is solution or success focused, whereas positive believing means a person has a reason to believe that they will succeed. What is the difference between positive thinking and positive believing? There is a misconception that with positive thinking, everything is possible in life. No matter how positive I am, I cannot do a kidney transplant on someone and expect them to live. The reality is that positive thinking does not guarantee success, but positive thinking with positive effort and actions increases our probability of success. Example: Muhammad Ali, when he used to go into the ring, he used to think, I'm the greatest, I'm the champion, I'm the greatest, I'm the champion. He never said, I hope I win. He used to psych himself mentally. That was positive thinking or positive mental conditioning. He used to look at his opponent and say, you have the belt, but I am the champion. Before he became a champion inside the ring, he became a champion outside, but he did not become the champion by only shouting, I'm the greatest, I'm the champion. While he was doing his positive thinking, he was not sitting in his living room watching TV and eating popcorn all day long. He was in the ring punching the bag all the time. His positive thinking was backed with positive action, which led him to believe that the results would be positive. Positive thinking is a supplement, not a substitute, to an action plan. When a person has a reason to believe that they will be successful, that is a possible, that is a positive believing. To succeed in life, one needs both the skill and the will. One without the other will not work, but between the two, will is a little more important than the skill. A skill can be matched, but when you are down and hurt, that's the time when your will is going to pull you up one more time to get up and give one more push, and that is the winning age. Even though it has become a cliche, it still makes great sense. The difference between the ordinary and extraordinary is only the extra. Positive believing is more than positive thinking. It is knowing that positive thinking will not work, positive thinking will work. Positive believing is an attitude of confidence that comes from preparation. What if you could actually listen to your thoughts? Are they positive or negative? Are you programming your mind for success or failure? The way in which you think has a profound effect on your performance. Having a positive attitude and being motivated is a choice we make every day. Living a positive life is not easy, but then neither is negative living. Given a choice, I would rather go for a positive living. Positive thinking with positive actions help you use your abilities to the fullest. Having a positive attitude without making the effort is nothing more than having a wishful dream. The following illustrates positive living. Several years ago, Lockheed introduced the L1011 Star plan in order to ensure safety and test the strength of the jetliner. Lockheed exposed the plane to the roughest possible treatment for 18 months, a program that cost 1.5 billion. Hydraulic jets, electronic sensors, and a computer put the airplane through its paces for more than 36,000 simulated flights, equivalent to 100 years of airline service, without one single malfunction. Finally, after thousands of tests, the aircraft was given the seal of approval. Does the Lockheed organization have reason to believe positively? You bet. There is every reason to believe that this plane is safe to fly because of all the effort put into preparation. Give more than you get. At one of my programs, there were a couple of hundred people. It was a very mixed group. There were doctors, lawyers, accountants, engineers, carpenters, plumbers, electricians. As I walked in, I said, never in the history of mankind has it been so easy to succeed in life than the way it is today. Regardless of your profession, we have no competition. After I repeated myself twice, one person stopped me and asked me to explain how it is I asked him, tell me how many people do you know walking down the street who are willing to do a little more than what they get paid for? The answer was hardly any. I continued, most people don't even want to do what they get paid for, and a second category of people want only to do what they can get by with. There is a very small fraction of people who are willing to do a little bit more than what they get paid for. I then asked him, if you fall into that category, I don't care what your profession is, tell me where is your competition. You can't even find a good attorney today, or an accountant, or an electrician, or a plumber. The question is, are you willing to do a little bit more than what you get paid for? If you look at the life histories of most successful people or organizations who have first succeeded, second sustained success, and third maintained goodwill, they have all lived by this one principle: I shall always give more than I get to my family, organization, and my society. If we live by this principle, you tell me where is the competition? In fact, we become the competition. We have no competition. Why should you do more? The advantages of doing more than you get paid for are: you make yourself more valuable regardless of what you do and where you work. It gives you more confidence. People start trusting you. Superiors start respecting you. It breeds loyalty from both your subordinates and your superiors. It generates cooperation. It produces pride and satisfaction. If you go the extra mile, there is the competition. If you work for a man, for heaven's sake, work for him. People who live by the above philosophy are in diamond everywhere they go, regardless of age, experience, or academic qualifications. They can work without supervision, are punctual and considerate, listen carefully, and carry out instruction accurately. Don't sulk when called upon to pitch in at the time of any emergency. Are result oriented rather than task oriented. Are cheerful and courteous. Always think in terms of giving more than is expected by your customers. your customer, friends, spouse, parents, and children. Whenever you do anything, ask yourself, how can I add value to what I'm doing? Or how can I give added value to others? The key to success can be summed up in four words and then some more. Winners do what they are supposed to, and then some more. Winners do their duty, and then some more. Winners are courteous and generous, and then some more. Winners can be counted on, and then some more. Winners put in 100%, and then some more. They always put in an extra effort even when it hurts. Why are some highly intelligent people, often with impressive academic qualification, living failures or at best practicing mediocrity? It is because they become experts at why things won't work and build a reserve of negative energy. No wonder they are living failures. Only when they give or do more than what they get paid for do they eliminate competition. This attitude is much more important than intelligence or a degree. The power of persistence. Many times I am asked that if there was only one quality that could bring success, which one would that be? My answer is, first of all, there is no one quality, it is a combination. But if there was only one, I would say it would be persistence. Persistence is the bounce back ability. All successful people gained success because they persisted. Calvin Coolidge said. Nothing will take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful people with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of education. Educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. How well said by Calvin Coolidge. Talent will not compensate for persistence, neither will genius nor education. The world is full of educated derelicts. How true. Persistence is omnipotent. The journey to being your best is not easy. It is full of setbacks. Winners persist and have the ability to overcome and bounce back with even greater resolve. The following poem, Don't Quit, literally changed my life. Don't quit. When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you are trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile but you have to sigh, when care is pressing you down a bit, must but rest if you must, but don't you quit. Life is cruel with its twists and turns, as every one of us sometimes learns, and many a failure turns about when he might have gone had he stuck it out. Don't give up though the pace seems slow. You may succeed with another blow. Success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint of the clouds of doubt, and you never can tell how close you are. It may be near when it seems so far. So stick to the fight when you are hardest, seem worst, that you must not quit. Fritz Kreisler, the great violinist, was once asked, how do you play so well? Are you lucky? He replied, it is practice. If I don't practice for a month, the audience can tell the difference. If I don't practice for a week, my wife can tell the difference. If I don't practice for a day, I can tell the difference. What is the moral of the story? Persistence, hard work, and pride and performance are inseparable. Persistence results from commitment and leads to determination. There is pleasure in endurance. Performers put in years of practice for a few seconds or minutes of performance. Persistence is a decision, it is a commitment to finish what you start. When we are exhausted, quitting looks good, but winners endure. Ask a winning athlete, and he will tell you that he endures pain and finishes what he started. Lots of people who are failures begin well but never finished anything. Persistence comes from purpose. Life without purpose is drifting. A person who has no purpose will never preserve and will never feel fulfilled. Pride in performance. In today's world, pride in performance has fallen by the wayside because it requires effort and hard work. However, nothing happens unless it is made to happen. When one is discouraged, it is easy to look for shortcuts. These, however, should be avoided no matter how great the temptation. Pride comes from within. It is what gives the winning edge. Pride in performance does not reflect ego, it represents high standards of performance with humility. The quality of the work and the quality of the worker are inseparable. Half year-state effort does not produce half results, it produces no results. Three people were laying bricks. A passerby asked them what they were doing. The first one replied, "Don't you see I'm making a living?" The second one said, "Don't you see I'm laying bricks?" The third one said, "I am building a beautiful monument." Here were three people doing the same thing who had totally different perspectives on what they were doing. They had three very different attitudes about their work. And would their attitude affect their performance? The answer is clearly yes. People who take pride in performance hold, hold themselves accountable to much higher standards of performance than others do. Excellence comes when the performer takes pride in doing his best. Every job is a self portrait of the person who does it, regardless of what the job is. Whether washing cars, sweeping the floor, or painting a house, do it right the first time, every time. The best insurance for tomorrow is a job well done today. Michelangelo had been working on a statue for many days. It was taking a long time to retouch every small detail. A bystander thought these improvements were insignificant and asked Michelangelo why he bothered with them. Michelangelo replied, "The trifles make perfection, and perfection is no trifle." Most people forget how fast you did a job, but they remember how well it was done. If a man is called to be street sweeper, he should sweep streets even as Michelangelo painted, or Beethoven composed music or wrote poetry. He should sweep streets too well that all the hosts of heaven and earth will pause to see. Here lived a great street sweeper who did his job well. The feeling of a job well done is a reward in itself. It is better to do small things well than do many things poorly. Be willing to be a student, get a mentor. If God and the teacher guru are standing together, who does the student salute first? According to Indian culture, the answer is the teacher because without his direction and help, the student could not have met God. A mentor or a teacher is a person whose hindsight can become your foresight. Look for someone who can mentor you. Choose your mentor carefully. A good mentor will guide and give direction, whereas a bad mentor will misguide. Show respect, be an interested student because an interested student gets the best out of a teacher. The best teachers will not give you something to drink. They will make you thirsty. They will not give you answers, but will put you on a path to seek answers. Once a person asked a fresh science graduate, "What are your qualifications?" The graduate replied, "I am a master of science." Then the same question was asked to his professor, and the professor replied, I'm a student of science. Isn't that amazing? One cannot be a good teacher unless he is a good student. Do you have what it takes to be successful? Do all of us have the qualities for success? Some people feel they don't, they stay mediocre and fail, but it doesn't have to be that way. All of us possess each of the qualities discussed in this chapter. The qualities may not be developed to the level that you want them to be, but they are there. You may not know that they are there, but once you discover them, life takes a new turn and changes for the better. This is like having $1 million buried in your backyard and not knowing about it. You wouldn't be able to use it, but the moment you find out, your thinking and behavior will change. We all have hidden treasures. All we need to do is bring them to the surface and use them. A crash course for success, play to win and hope to lose. Learn from other people's mistakes. Associate with people of high moral character. Give more than you get. Don't look for something for nothing. Always think long term. Evaluate your strengths and build on them. Always keep the larger picture in mind when making a decision. Never compromise your integrity. Action plan. Write three things that you commit to do where you will give more than what you get from my family, my customer, my organization, my society, all. Look back into the last 3 years of your life and write what you learned from each step. Ben Franklin identified 13 virtues and worked on each of them for a week. At the end of 13 weeks, he started the cycle over again. Temperance, silence, order, resolution, futility, industry, sincerity, justice, moderation, cleanliness, tranquility, chastity, humility. Decide how you can work on each of the 10 keys to success in this chapter. Desire, responsibility, character, give more than you get, pride of performance, commitment, hard work, positive belief, persistence. Be a student, get a mentor. What is holding us back? Fear and self doubt. The only limit to our realization of tomorrow will be our doubts of today. What would happen if you drove your car with the brakes on? You would never go full speed because the brakes would offer resistance. Your car would overheat and break down. If it didn't break down, the resistance would strain the engine. To get to your destination, you would have to make one of two choices. You could either press the accelerator harder and risk damage, or release the brakes to make the car go faster. This analogy is a good parallel to life because many people go through life without emotional brakes on. What are the brakes? They are the factors that prevent you from achieving success: fear, procrastination, lack of pride, etc. The way to release your emotional brakes is by building a positive attitude, realizing your self worth, and accepting responsibility. Failure: 20 reasons why you don't achieve excellence. Life is like a 10-speed bicycle. Most of us have gears we never use. There are 20 factors that can cause you to fail. By working to overcome these factors, you can release the brakes that are holding back your success.